It's more popularly known mass timber, short for massive timber. In a nutshell, it involves sticky pieces of softwood, generally wood like pine, spruce, or fir, but also species such as birch, ash, or beech, together to form larger pieces. And so it's just really interesting because not only is it more sustainable, but combining those types of woods happens to make the structure stronger and more sound. So I thought that was really fascinating stuff.
Yeah. So look, I'm familiar with massive timber.
Oh, are you?
Okay. But I should have known that you were gonna love the story, not just for the own, but for the wood.
Totally.
Because Craig and I were joking around before the show. We have a new wooden thing in our bench or whatever. I'm like, Indiana, because you love woodwork, right? But I want to say one last thing about that interview. Look, I don't know if the British have it feels like their average bloke's a little bit smarter than ours here in America. Okay, it's probably not the case, but
I think it's probably.
but it feels that way. Now, and mainly it's a comment about America than it is more about the UK. But the point is that he underestimated. He thought, I'm such a clever talk show host, and I'm going to bring on this average guy, and I'm going to steamroll him. Well, no, you're not anywhere near as smart as you thought you were, and don't underestimate carpenters.
Yes.
There are 2 other carpenters, actually now 3. You're kind of a carpenter.
I'm not. I would never dare take on that label.
Okay,
I don't
fair
deserve
enough.
it.
She's an amateur carpenter.
I'm an amateur, yes.
Okay. But there are 2 professional carpenters that were also underestimated. One of them is Bernie Sanders, who was a carpenter earlier in his life. And the other is a guy named Jesus. Hey, and he seemed to change the world a little bit, and he was also underestimated.
Yep.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. We've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only.
It's Carpo here, and I just wanted to wish you a great day. Whenever you may watch this, perhaps it's not even Halloween. I figure it'd be a good opportunity to stop by and say hello to everyone, make a quick video, and say, on this one day a year, it's important, I think, to stop and consider reflecting that we're always putting these things coat of armor that will allow us to make it through the day-to-day. This can be shown through the workplace or interacting with people we've met or even old friends, and the way that our behaviors can change from minute to minute, day to day, depending on how we're feeling and the circumstances, how it's easy to look down on ourselves and how it's easy to look up at ourselves in the right circumstances, and finding ourselves somewhere in the middle where we're just trying to make it through this crazy life, So I hope you're making it through yours. By the way, if you're wondering, I'm a lab animal. I don't really have a particular costume here. I just probably have ears, rabbit ears, and I put on the lab coat. I'm an experiment. I'm a social experiment. I'm a medical experiment. But then the irony, I guess, is that I'm experimenting on myself. If I am the lab technician and I'm the lab rat, where does that leave me exactly? Maybe that's the old snake eating its tail, this cycle of life. As above, so below, as it begins, it shall end, and all of that magic. So, anyhow, just wanted to say hello. I went to a friend's party last night. I hadn't seen him in years. He lived like 5 miles from me. And I met him over this one weekend at the regional Burning Man. Saw him the next year as well. For these brief few days, and how you can make a relationship and meet people and interact and feel like you've known someone for a longer time than you perhaps have, just because you've spent certain quality time with the people. And at any rate, on a holiday like Halloween, it's going to be different for each person. But as a parent, I get to take my kids out and go trick-or-treating and do all that fun stuff. So I'm about to go do that, and just wanted to say hello. Wish you all the best. Take care.
healthiest and cleanest protein you can eat, then why aren't we eating more of it? We'll tell you exactly why. Tuna on the supermarket shelves is basically smelly mush, and Natural Catch is here to give canned tuna a better name. Here at Natural Catch, we show what's in our can, but you'll notice the other brands don't. Maybe we're just different. Maybe we're just...
Okay, now, outstanding friends, this is where I get to brag again. I love this part. Now, I have all the same stuff they have. I know what they're talking about. I don't just object because I don't know. I object when I do know. And if things are right, they're right. If they're wrong, they're wrong. Now, chemistry, that's my house. It's not their house. That's my house right there. I own this. And I really do because I did it long ago, way, way, way back, when chemistry was a lot of fun. Now you say, oh, Roger, I hate chemistry. I said, well, there was a time I hated girls too, until I grew up. This is chemistry. These are all the different things that I studied years ago. And when I study something, I study it pretty deep. I don't study just the top of the surface. So I feel pretty confident to be able to talk about chemistry, light energy, and how light turns into electricity. That's all it does. It turns into electricity. And all this stuff. This was all this stuff I did after I got out of the Army. I was going to go into all this, and then of course it just didn't work out for me because they just didn't want to listen. You just had to say what they had to say, and then draw up a whole bunch of little doodles and stuff to try to prove that. I mean, it was just nonsense. So I went on my own way. But anyway, this is, now I can prove this because I have the experiments to show it. But that's a whole nother realm. Really though, you have to understand chemistry. To understand chemistry, you have to understand electrons. To understand electrons, you have to understand electrons. To understand electrons, to understand light, you have to understand electrons. And to understand electrons, you have to know how they interact with other electrons and other particles and other fields. Right? Because every molecule that's attached together is only held together by their fields. They're only grabbing. Let me hold out your hand. Just let me. Oh, give me both hands. Give me all four of your hands. All right. This is going to be on DNA, but DNA could structure a body. It just doesn't.
All right. There we go. Welcome, Earthlings, moon beings, Martians, Jupiterians, Uranuses, everyone else. So, we have a couple things. A few things I'm just going to go through. Alright? Just going to go through. First thing is First Amendment auditing. I've been watching this for a couple years now. What'll happen is I'll think of something, I'll binge watch, I'll find a community sometimes, and I'll find a few representatives that I'll watch. This is one, and how I kind of got into this was looking people that film that show police interactions, car cams, body cams, that kind of thing, police interrogations, which is interesting. And I found that Kazume voices a really big channel of that, about criminal psychology, which is about psychology. And anyway, landed on this First Amendment auditing thing. Now, it's interesting. So, for example, my wife thinks this guy's just trying to create trouble. But he's the kind of guy willing to make trouble. Am Against It Press is who I'm talking about. Now, I decided not to put a link. You have enough information there to find him. Or you can just look up First Amendment auditors. Now, the thing is, even if they are, and some of them are kind of trying to create trouble, they're recording, they know somebody's, and this guy is on the borderline, he won't tell you what he's doing. He might be able to diffuse situations if he was just there to film public places, but he's also there to see how people treat his First Amendment rights. Now, a lot of people think that you have to give a waiver to get filmed, but that's not true in public. And think about it, it can't be. For example, have you ever seen a picture, say, from the 20s of New York, downtown New York, or Chicago? Yeah, exactly. How could you take pictures like that if you had to get everybody's consent? They're in public. We're allowed to record what it's like to exist in this time frame. It's like the rights of current history or something, the First Amendment right. To record what it's like in public. You have a lot of rights, at home. So you could see he does, there's some things, look, he uses this Karen word, which is annoying me. I'm sick of that. Insane grandpa rage in Sedona. Let's see how this goes for a second. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. Just raising this to your attention. I'm not condoning or advocating or anything like that. The person, just the subject matter. I find it interesting.
What are you two guys?
I don't know you either.
And you're standing there very suspicious, so don't give me this.
What? Make sure you put it reverse. There you go.
It's his son.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
On my beard, I put a nice shirt on. Got my new
He's nominally libertarian,
And we may not.
conservative, libertarian.
Oh, there you go, yeah. Just block the driveway. Makes sense. Yeah. On postal property taking video. So I appreciate you being educated and properly trained and knowledgeable. That's good. Refreshing. And I hope your department is that way.
Yeah. Where are you guys from?
So these channels are also interesting in that you can see how police officers respond to things. They basically seem to show up, find out who's in control, like the owner or the operator or the manager of that building, the property, and then do whatever they say. So yeah, so that's we did that. Boom, First Amendment audit. Now, reason and rationality. Huh. NP Life Apologist says, "Hey Pero, have you seen any Jamie Deluxe films? Not that I know of. We want the truth, and I'm sure we can handle the truth." Okay, so don't really need this is the thing. I see. All right, what I'll do is take that away and move this up. Okay. All right, so we're on this one. All right, so this is a little thing we're going to cover a bunch of times over and over and over. Now, one of the things that I've done over the decades is I've refined terms, right? Because people don't really understand. Like, for example, to use reason. To use reason, or to be rational. People just get a feeling, like a vibe. Like, that means this vibe. And that's what they think the terms mean. They don't really define them. These terms are meant to be defined in a concrete way, like related to things that are pretty tangible as far as ideas go, right? But people just have like this concept, and then there's people that have a reputation as being reasonable or rational, and then people just ape those. They mock or ape those ideals that are based on mythological interpretations of people. And it's all just a feeling when it's really a lot easier than that. So I have simple definitions that I've refined out of the definitions that we're using and where these terms come from. Empty life apologist. What's the importance? Well, I just said if we didn't have our First Amendment rights to take photographs in public, we wouldn't have pictures of New York over history. So that's why. All right, so reason just means that you have a reason. It might seem obvious. People that believe in the concept or metaphysics of reasons says, well, there's always a reason, even if someone won't say it. Like they don't want to say it because maybe it looks bad for them, or they can't say it because they just can't put their finger on the words. There has to be a reason. But the idea of being reasonable is to have a reason. You don't just say just because. Now, again, that seems obvious, but we know, for example, lots of parents are like, just because you don't want to explain, maybe you haven't explained to yourself, again, maybe you don't know the reason, but you just know what you want. Human beings are faced with knowing this, that they have an urge and feeling that urge, and that means that they want a particular thing to fulfill that urge, but maybe they can't say the reason. The reason is the inference from one idea to another. Here's an idea I have. What was the inference that led to it? Back tracing, right? So logic is the study of inference from one idea to another. If the moon is made of cheese, then I can go mine cheese on the moon if I have a rocket to go, and these things fit together, and there's inferences. The inferences can break at a certain point, so you can have a logical argument as a way of studying, like, oh wait, that doesn't make sense, right? But having a reason means that there's logical inferences to what you're arguing. That's being reasonable, having a reason. But it's not good enough to just say, oh well, there's always a reason. No, and I have it. No, that means stating the reason. Right? Okay. Now, rational is a similar concept. It has to do with a ratio, which is a comparison. Okay, we're on another subject now. A comparison. A ratio is a comparison. So, for example, a ratio in numbers, you have 2/3. That's comparing 2 to 3. And notice it's interesting. This particular comparison, that's different than comparing 3 to 2. 3 is bigger than 2 is the result of that comparison. 2 smaller than 3 is one of the results of that comparison. Right? So you're comparing two things. So rationality means that you compare multiple things. Now, I would say, as I said before with the 5 pods, it's good to compare 5 things, a set of 5 things. But you need to at least compare things pairwise, one to the other. So if you have reasons, you should have multiple reasons. Say there's n reasons, and then you should compare those reasons. Compare reason ni to nj. And remember that you also have to do nj to ni because there's 2 sides to every ratio, because there's at least 2 things. And then a ratio of a big set of things is, all the pair muted. So if there's 5 things, then it'd be 5 factorial, I think, if I recall correctly. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, so 20, 60, 120. And you would have 120 pairs. Is that right? I think so. Somebody check me. I don't know. I was winging that. And that's rationality. Rationality is being willing to come. So what is implied by rationality is you have to be able to entertain more than one idea, and that means ideas that you may not agree with, you may know you don't agree with, you may not know if you don't agree with them. You have to be able to entertain other ideas without worrying about, oh, I'm suddenly going to believe this idea, because you need to entertain multiple ideas in order to take the ratio and compare the two ideas. And you have to have reasons, because it's too easy to just, otherwise you're just pulling from the gut as far as anybody knows. Now you might pull from the gut and turns out there is a good reason. Fine, state the reason, because it makes things more civil. And that's how you be reasonable and rational. It's that simple. That's what that means. Okay, now the next thing is, so we did that. The Jedi mind trick in politics. This is something I'm thinking about with conservatism. I'm a little bit getting strained, have been for quite a while, because I always tried to work with conservatives, and I have in political action. I believe that that's a strong area, but it's become less and less possible as we have been divided. And I would say that we've been divided because working with conservatives that also want to work with the other side of the aisle, those types of people, that we've been pulled apart. We didn't want to, but other forces out here were like, no, you can't do that. And then the culture just started defining things as that way. Now, also, it's not just like, oh, someone made me do that, now I have to have a different attitude. No, it's actually become difficult to work with conservatives as there's doesn't seem to be any overlap that we're willing to discuss. Everything that overlaps, not important, we don't discuss. We don't even take action on it, and we focus on the differences, and the differences can be quite serious, like whether or not you support, that January 6th is serious or not, or this or that, or what, all of those things that everybody's working on. And I feel like the right wing, and this, I honestly am just saying this to anybody conservative to get the idea, and I'm not asking for your mercy to change this, I'm just telling you how it seems, and I hope you get both sides of this, because yeah, it's insulting, but I'm not saying, oh, stop insulting me. I'm going, it's also so stupid, how could you think this would work? And that is that people tell me the Jedi mind trick. Oh, no, it's really, hey, I'm concerned about January 6th. Oh, no, that's just being blown up. Hey, I support immigration. Whoa, see, it's just brainwashing, like, I don't have my own idea. Pay no attention. There is nothing, and just stating those words. But then that's insulting, and, there's certain people I've known for years that I have relationships with that seem to have that attitude. It's kind of insulting, but the really insulting part's not that you're, well, I guess it's obvious. The insulting part is that somebody would think the Jedi mind trick works. Like, what? Like, why would you think that would work on me? There's a lot of better ways to just say, screw you, I don't care what your opinion is, to just try to state that, and then it's like they're doing it on themselves. After they do that, they go like, oh, I've dealt with that, and they pretend that I don't have the original opinion that I've told them about. And I think this is a big part of the deterioration. And I don't think I do that. If I do, I would want to stop. But, I think this is important to figure out how eventually we unify ideas, because we have a lot of ideas in common. To be focusing so much on differences that are actually extraneous to the people that seem to care about the most. I mean, people that are upset about immigration are not directly affected by immigration. They're affected by a lot of other kinds of things and corruptions, so it seems like it'd be easy to deal with that. And the difficult things that are important to me or whatever, and everybody else, we can deal with them too. But anyway, whatever. Again, I'm not pleading for mercy. If it's got to be like, oh, your ideas are my ideas, and it's going to be, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm an observer, not a politician. I don't get to decide how we act on any of this, just how I react. Okay, final thing. Miyazaki. So this is a media thing, real quick. Right? So Miyazaki, great films. I love Miyazaki. I watch all these films multiple times. So I typed in all Miyazaki films. Came up with a couple. Spirited Away, great film. A family drives out, and I think they get lost near this weird spot, and the parents get well. There might be spoilers in this, but not bad spoilers. So the parents are indisposed, and this little girl has an adventure in this place, and it's just great. And there's dragons and this great Miyazaki kind of not really spiritualism, but all those worlds of river spirits and pollution or not. My Neighbor Totoro, that's really great. A little girl lives with her dad, and her mom is sick, and she meets this great fluffy guy, Totoro. Howl's Moving Castle, there's a wizard that has a big house that walks on legs, and he has magic doorways to go through, and that's, of course, there's usually a strong female character in Miyazaki, and strong young female character, and themes of war and ecological stuff. And this one has a lot about war. Princess Mononoke is more about the ecological stuff and the monsters in there. Of course, there's an Asian and a Japanese style where the American and European tropes don't really fit. They don't do them. So the monsters maybe have been corrupted by pollution, but they can be good, and their child mourns for them or whatever. Princess Mononoke was kind of scary to some of the little kids that want to watch it, because there's some scary monsters that, again, it's not the monster's fault they got taken over. Castle in the Sky, interesting, about a floating city, a lost floating city in kind of a steampunk world with some flying, but there's this lost floating city, and this a couple kids go look. Kiki's Delivery Service, about a young witch and her talking cat, who's awesome. I think of my cat as Kiki's cat, and that's a really nice one. Absolutely like that. But a young witch, when young witches, when they get a certain age, they just go off and work. She delivers, works for a baker. Ponyo, might have seen, don't remember it. Nausicaa just watched this Wasteland movie. She's a kind of badass ninja flying this flying thing. It's a post-apocalyptic. Humans have destroyed. The Wind Rises was interesting. I looked this up after. I just watched this recently, and it's actually about the guy that made those Japanese, I forget the kind of pilot, I think like the Zeros or something. And he doesn't like war, and he has this kind of this hero of his that he talks to in his dreams or whatever, an Italian airplane designer. And they both hate war, but they end up making just war machines. That was interesting. Porco Rosso, I don't think I've seen. I'm not sure if I've seen that. So anyway, this is some good movies. Highly recommend those. And if you don't like cartoons, well, that's sort of sad, because animation is there's a lot of great stuff in animation. I like the best of every. I don't like all things and all genres, but I like the best of every genre. These are amazing. So, one I just watched recently that he produced was by the story by the woman that did Pippi Longstocking. So it was that the Ronya the Robber's Daughter. Yeah, Ronya the Robber's Daughter. So it's a Astrid Lindgren, is it? And then this is this animated show. Yeah, Astrid Lindgren, who did Pippi Longstockings. I've got to read all her books. And this is the animated series on books. Oh, interesting. It's just got this. It was on Amazon or something. All right. Yeah, I would say Harry Potter films. Magic, like that kind of magic's kind of steampunk. Yeah, absolutely. I always liked that. Before that was the word steampunk, there was still that idea, and it's kind of like if when they made movies, Jules Verne movies, you know, the old Jules Verne, Doctor Dolittle kind of things, where it was, you know, the original brass machinery thing. All right, 30 minutes, perfect. Okay, so boom, we did Miyazaki. The whole thing. I thought it might take a lot longer than that. All right, thanks. And cheers to everybody. I'm always curious. I forgot to check the last one. Did it set out right? Did it go right last time? Let's see. Oh, I see. So it wasn't really 30 minutes because of the 6 minutes beforehand. Well, you know, that's fair enough, but I think it's good. You know, it's like exercise. You just do a little bit a day. It doesn't have to be a lot. You know what I mean?